Alright guys, today we're going to be reacting to Build a House in Winter Part 2 from the Prefabs. This is the second part. This kind of look like a ghost right now. There you go, much better. This is the second part from this series. We're going to react to it. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for what you guys have done. We're enjoying some of the style of the Prefab over there in Germany. A lot of good ideas. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let's jump in. Let's see what's going on.
The Bisinger's bathroom won't have any radiators, and neither will the other rooms.
The radiator takes the air it needs from the room. The warm air gives off heat to the heat exchanger. Fresh air flows in from outside and is heated up by the... It's just right.
Don't go in with high heels on at home. We chose that one because it's a more angular shape, and the wash basins are rectangular and don't have the deep rounded shape at the bottom, but are just flat and straight. So we'll be able to
knows
fit
what he
matching
wants.
base units underneath them.
The Bisinger's bathroom won't have any radiators, and neither will the other rooms.
Look at that,
The
radiator
radiator
is kind of
takes the
funny.
air it needs from the room. The warm air gives off heat to the heat exchanger. Fresh air flows in from outside and is heated up by the warm used air from the rooms, and this gives you a basic temperature in the house.
And this is the small heat pump right here.
Yes, that's the small heat pump, and that gives you additional heating performance if you want it warmer than the basic temperature setting.
After 8 hours, it's all over. Countless choices and decisions have been made.
That was pretty intense because normally 2 days are scheduled, but because of my physio practice, we just don't have the time to spread it over 2 days, and after a whole day, your head's just spinning.
Yeah, it's too much.
The most important building material for the house is spruce wood. The plant here processes a gigantic 80,000 solid square meters a year. Around 12,000 of them are sourced locally in the forests around Sigmaringen at the southern end of the Swabian Alb. Today, the forestry workers will be thinning out this section of forest. Stefan Fischer from the forestry department marks the trees which are to be felled. Those standing too close to others, for example.
You can see here that the crowns of these two trees are already touching, so we'll take this tree out to allow the crowns of the remaining trees to spread out better.
In the forest, ground conditions play a very important role. If it rains for days on end, you sink in by up to 40-50 centimeters. And our guidelines say we shouldn't carry on driving if we sink in by more than 40 centimeters. For that, we have aids on the front tire,
Because it's going to be hard for them to just get out.
the so-called caterpillar tracks. With them, the pressure on the ground is more evenly distributed, and you're allowed to drive much longer in bad weather.
The trees here are about 40 meters high. The harvester first secures the trunk with its harvester head and then saws through it at the bottom with a hydraulic chainsaw. Then pushes it over. With feed rollers, the harvester head pulls the trunks through 5 blades that remove the branches.
Wow.
Every 5 meters, the feed rollers stop and the trunk is sawn off. Depending on the kind of wood, this 500,000 euro harvester can process about 12 trees an hour.
Hold on. Is the music in the background Batman Begin from the Dark Knight? Am I crazy?
Now, the next monster goes into action. This 4-axle all-wheel drive vehicle is a so-called forwarder. It collects all the logs, takes them to the collection point, and stacks them in piles.
Take the saw, hammer, wedge, everything we need.
On this slope, however, the big machines can't operate. Here, the forestry workers have to cut down the trees the traditional way,
Really?
by hand. The challenge is
Ah,
that the
because
marked
it's
spruces
not-
they
it's
cut
not
down
even.
must not damage any other trees.
This one's going down there, right?
Right, and if you can't get through it, if it gets stuck, we'll pull it down with the caterpillar.
Okay.
Yeah, it might get stuck because of all the frost and snow.
The man saws a notch into the tree that's coming down. This determines the direction of the fall.
There you go.
He then saws all around the trunk, but not all the way through. The wedge is used to stop the tree falling towards the men.
Watch out.
One final cut, and down comes the tree.
Wow, nice job. Nice job.
It lands perfectly. Rather less than perfect is the quality of the trunk.
The tree's rotten in the lower section, so we'll cut a 2-meter piece off the end.
The dreaded red rot means this wood can't be used for prefab houses.
Oh.
So now it's good. Nice and white. Perfect.
Now
Interesting.
the special caterpillar comes into play.
The little
It
tiger.
pulls the freshly sawn wood off the slope. Costing 100,000 euros, this machine has a 55 horsepower diesel engine and can negotiate slopes of up to 45 degrees. And its special feature is that it's remote
Bro,
controlled.
I'm telling you, the songs used for this little section of the video is fire.
At the collection point, the municipal forestry workers are measuring the quantity of timber. Timber intake is the technical term. First, Jürgen Kohler counts the tree trunks.
Oh wow, how you count that?
We draw a long line after every 50 logs so we can count them better. And when we finish marking them, we count up the long lines plus what's left over.
That makes 158 altogether.
Wow.
Now, Stefan Fischer measures the diameter of the top logs. The digital caliper stores the data, determines the average log volume, and multiplies the result by the total number of logs. In this case, 158.
41 cubic meters.
41.446 cubic meters.
So now they're getting our seal of approval. That shows that our wood's been sourced from sustainable forestry. It basically means that we never use more wood than we can grow back in a certain period of time.
Oh, nice. So you always have wood.
The roundwood timber purchaser from the Prefab House Company arrives. Georg Tigermann carries out quality spot checks even as the trees are being felled.
How old is the wood?
It's over 90 years old.
Over 90. That's good. And how much can we expect to get from this harvest?
From this one, you'll probably get over 400 cubic meters.
When wood comes from an 80 to 100-year-old tree population like this and has reached this size, for me it's a sign that it's grown slowly, has a narrow ring structure, and a certain wood density that's very good for what we need it for.
Very interesting, right? And I never expected people to be very into this, like into this such detail.
If these logs had a much larger diameter, we'd see very wide annual rings, very hard knots, and consequently a kind of wood that in terms of strength and hardness wouldn't be suitable for our products.
Haulage contractor Bernd Gulde now loads the wood onto his 40-ton all-wheel drive truck. Bernd Gulde is allowed to carry 22.5 tons. He has no scales. Here in the forest, it's experience that counts.
Theoretically, I've still got some space at the top, but the wood's quite heavy, so I haven't used the full loading height.
That's heavy.
Fortunately, the forest tracks are frozen solid today. Longer frost-free periods in winter can lead to problems for transporting the wood.
It can sometimes happen that you get stuck and need help. Someone to pull you out with a winch or another truck. It's quite rare, but it does happen.
Today, everything goes smoothly. It's
Thank
around
God.
35 kilometers to the Prefab House Company in Hohenstein-Oberstetten. After just under an hour's drive, Bernd Gulde arrives with his cargo. He unloads it at the roundwood timber loading bay, where the logs undergo another quality inspection.
There are various timber qualities. B is very good, C is medium, and D is poor quality.
A quality is strong timber that only comes from long tree trunks and is used for veneers. The ideal wood for prefabricated houses is B quality. It has grown straight, has the core exactly in the center, and has very few knots. If a log is much thicker on one side than on the other, perhaps because the root base is still attached, the thicker part is milled off, because wood of even thickness is much easier to process. The color of the wood is also important.
On this log here, you can see from the difference in color that it's rotten. Red rot. That's why we'll go down to D quality for this one.
In other words, unsuitable for house building. The log is
Wow,
rejected.
look at that. Look at that. So many
The next
logs,
stop
right?
for the spruce
Look
wood
at that. Wow.
is the debarking machine, a tube containing 6 rotating blades known as finishing knives. Michael Ama, the sawmill production manager, inspects the machine regularly. To do so, he stops the conveyor and takes a very close look inside the machine.
Messer sind perfekt.
The blades are perfect, as good as new. Normally we change them every 6 months, but we also carry out regular inspections. We'll have a look inside every week, and any broken ones are replaced.
The next inspection.
Wow, that was very interesting. Very interesting. We're gonna stop right here. It's a lot of time, so we're gonna just continue tomorrow. But wow, right? Wow, how a lot of these companies that build houses as a prefab, they take this business model very serious, very serious. Well, and over there in Germany, they're counting years and this and that. That's just crazy. It's crazy. And of course, the demand of prefab houses, I would like to think that it's not as common. It is common, but it's not as popular because a lot of people do rent. It's becoming more apparent that a lot of people rent, so therefore some of the materials for the houses is very high. Very high. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would like to hear what you guys think about this procedure of making these houses. Meantime, guys, I'll see you in the next one.